Okay. I'm like really into this subject. What started me off on this subject was when I watched Donut the other night. And Donut to me is just like whatever. Although, because he mentioned recovery, I know that he's onto something. Because he has experience with recovery, and he's got positive things to say about it. Like he's very careful what he says because of anonymity, which is like, yeah, that's, see, and here I am breaking my anonymity, but again, he's got 100,000 subscribers and his views average 20,000 views. I can talk about this and pretty much keep my anonymity because nobody's watching my videos, which is a beautiful thing. Because then I can actually be free to talk about stuff while keeping my anonymity. So anyways, we're talking about fucking Neo, okay? The whole story about Neo. And Morpheus and all this shit. So, you know, it's just very interesting, this story, because it so mirrors my experience with the 12 steps. It's like identical. Everything about it is identical. So to recap, what it appears in the story is that Neo was desperate. He was desperate. He was in a desperate need for an answer to the question. Okay? He was in desperate need for an answer to the question, which is why he consented to allowing himself to be led by Morpheus, a complete fucking stranger. That's the only way that someone would do that, is out of desperation. And so his desperation was rooted in that he had already come to a loose conclusion that he was that he was enslaved, that he was a slave. Neo already knew on a subconscious level he was a slave. That's why he was he was seeking an answer to the question, because it's the question that drove him. It wasn't Morpheus he was looking for. It was the question that was driving him. Therefore, it was the answer he was seeking. It was an answer he was seeking. And Trinity says, you know the question just as I did. What is the matrix? And what is the matrix? Morpheus explains it. He says, the matrix is everywhere. It is the veil that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth that you are a slave, born into a prison that you cannot touch, taste, see, or smell. A prison for your mind. So it was Neo's desperation, because at some level Neo knew he was a slave and he was desperately seeking freedom. That's the only rational conclusion as to why Neo would allow himself to be led by a complete stranger named Morpheus. Because Neo knew on some level that he was a slave, that no matter where he went, he was stuck in a prison. He had nowhere else to go. And so he had nothing to lose, because if Morpheus was bullshit, well, then it's just more slavery. It's not like he's still a slave. Even if Morpheus was bullshit, and Neo was being misguided by allowing himself to put his trust in Morpheus. And that is literally what Neo did. So Neo allowed himself to trust someone outside of himself. And see, this is one of the questions, is Who are you? Do you have a Morpheus? Are you in a situation where you're allowing yourself to put your trust into somebody like that? And really, the movie The Matrix illustrates, it is a perfect illustration of how to escape the Matrix. So first, you have to kind of somewhat realize, even on a subconscious level, that you live in a prison. You're a slave. Then once, and usually that is out of desperation. Like, something had to have happened to you to shock and traumatize you into realizing that you might be a slave. You might be a slave. And so once a person is shocked and traumatized to the point where they come to some realization that they're a slave, well, then they realize they're imprisoned. They don't really have anywhere to go. Okay? So that's a state of desperation. And then to hear about Morpheus, that Morpheus is an answer to the question of what is the Matrix? What is this prison that I'm in? What is this? That there is something out there outside of me that has an answer to the question. So these are all things of desperation. Like, if I'm a slave and I'm enslaved, then I'm in a state of desperation. And if I find out that there is some way that I might be able to escape, it may be bullshit, it may not, but there is something that's saying that I might be able to escape. Well, see, it's an act of desperation for me to seek that out. And so if I'm seeking out the proverbial Morpheus, that's because I'm in a state of desperation, having realized that I'm a slave, or that I think I'm a slave. I think that this is all bullshit. This is a matrix of bullshit. And so that's what would drive a person to seek out a stranger that they've never even met before, to try to find an answer to the question. So and this is the whole process of unplugging from the matrix. So first, you have to come to some kind of realization that you really are a slave. And that's really hard to do, because everybody's telling you, all you hear, like the truther movement, all you hear is, slavery is coming. These are the headlines. They don't tell you you're already a slave. They tell you that in the near future, it's going to be like the Matrix. So they're even lying to you. Everything is bullshit. Everything is. Oh, the social credit score system is coming to America. You know, it's going to happen eventually if we don't do something about it. Well, see, those people are lying to you, because they're not telling you that the social credit score system is already here and has been probably before you and I were even born. They're telling you it's coming. China's coming. The British are coming. The British are coming. No, they're lying to you. Either that, or they're a useful idiot that hasn't figured out that they're a fucking slave in the Matrix. So that's it, you know. And this shit is all around us. Even all these people talking about the Matrix, they're bullshitters. They don't understand the movie The Matrix. Just like the movie They Live. They don't understand the movie They Live. I can break down that whole fucking thing. And it's not out of virtue. It's not out of virtue, you know. And that's how Morpheus was presented. Morpheus wasn't presented as this egomaniac who's like, you know, doing channels where he's got fucking 500,000 subscribers and averages, you know, 100,000 views of video. That's not Morpheus. Morpheus was underground. Like, it took Neo fucking years and years of searching the internet, having to sift through all these fake truthers, all these fake fucking people, all these fake influencers with their tabloid headlines. Oh, the social credit score is coming. If we need to do something. See, they don't even know that the social credit score has been here since before they were even born. Either that, or they're an agent attempting to misinform people. So this is the whole process of getting unplugged and getting red pilled. Now you have all these people all over the internet claiming that they're red pilled. How many of them do you think are truly red pilled, that have gone through this whole process where they realize they're a slave, and they realize that no matter where they go, they're just stuck in this fucking Masonic, Luciferian, or Illuminati fucking illusion, Potemkin Village illusion. Like, first you have to admit it to yourself. You have to admit that this is the reality I exist in. And most people can't even admit that, but they'll claim to be red pilled, and that they know all about the Matrix and all this stuff, right? So once a person gets to that realization, that is a sense of desperation, because to come to realize that I'm a slave, that's pretty scary. And so then knowing that there's something out there, there is an answer to this question, it is out there. So then I'm searching and searching and searching for it, and then I accidentally come across an answer to the question that's driving me. And it isn't Morpheus himself that is the answer. It's just that Morpheus knows more than I can imagine. He just happens to know all this shit. Okay? But he's not some guru. He doesn't come across as like he's better than Neo. He's actually telling Neo that Neo's the one. He's like, I've been looking for you. Before Morpheus even meets Neo, Morpheus is like telling him on the phone, dude, you are the one. You are the one. So Morpheus has humility. Morpheus isn't saying, Neo, I am the one. I am the one. No, Morpheus is saying, Neo, you are the one. I've been searching for you. So, but you don't see people doing that. Like, you are the one. They're trying to tell you that they are the one. And this is all the steps. This is all dude, this is all just like a perfect illustration of the way the steps works. This is what the steps is telling you. So even though Morpheus is telling Neo that Neo's the one, the thing is, just as Trinity explains to Neo before she opens the door and introduces Neo to Morpheus, she stops and says, if I can give you a piece of advice, what does she say? She says, something like, keep an open mind. Morpheus knows more than you can imagine. So even if Neo is the one, it doesn't matter, because Morpheus is the one that fucking knows. Neo doesn't fucking know. And so then Neo and Morpheus have their first conversation, and Morpheus is like, do you want to know what it is? Do you want to know what it is? What is this question? Do you want an answer to the question? It's because it's the question that brought you to me. Do you want to know? And the Matrix is you are a slave. That's all the Matrix is it's a prison, and you are a slave. And so Neo already had this in his subconscious, which is what drew him to Morpheus. And so then when Morpheus says it, then Morpheus says, I can show you. I can show you. If you consent. The red pill is symbolic of Neo's letting go. Neo allowing Morpheus to show Neo, because Morpheus is the one that knows more than Neo can even possibly imagine. So Neo is at a like a crossroads or a threshold where it's like, because that requires humility. For me to let someone else who knows more than me, for me to allow myself to be taught by them, that requires humility. That means I have to admit that I don't know, and this guy does know, or at least he says he does. And it also requires trust. I have to let down my guard, because all my life I've realized I can't trust anybody. I can't trust anybody or anything, because everything is fucking Freemasonry. I can't trust anything. But the desperation allowed Neo to open up to consent to trusting Morpheus and to allow Morpheus to be the teacher and for Neo to be the student. To consent to being a student requires humility. And so, but Neo consented, and a lot of it was out of desperation, because if you're a slave, you don't have anywhere to go anyways. You don't have nothing to lose. You're a slave. And so Neo reluctantly took the red pill. And then that's when the suffering began. Not the big orgasmic DMT explosion into multiple universe, the multiverse, and orgasmic experiences of wonderful awe. No, and Morpheus said, all I'm offering you is the truth, nothing more. You know, that's all. He's not offering a DMT experience of explosive fucking, orgasmic experiences of explosive hallucinations of multi-universe superhero shit. No, all he's offering is the truth. That's it. And he admitted it. All I'm offering you is the truth. Nothing more. Nothing more. So, and that's Morpheus being honest with Neo. All I'm offering you is the truth. I'm not, this ain't no fucking DMT fucking trip of orgasmic, peak orgasmic experiences. This is the truth. If that's what you want. You want the truth? Okay. And then all it is suffering. All Neo does is fucking suffer. It's all trauma and shock and physical suffering and recovery, healing from all of this damage of all these years of just damage and indoctrination and programming and all this. So they had to fucking tend to him, tend to his physical needs, care for him. They had to do all of this stuff to help this guy. They saved this motherfucker's life. And everybody on the Nebuchadnezzar, with the exception of Bulldozer and his brother, I can't remember the brother's name, everyone else had to get unplugged like Neo. So Trinity, Cypher, I think even Morpheus had plugs. Yeah, Morpheus had plugs too, yeah. So all those people had to go through the same thing as Neo. That's why they know more than Neo, because they've already experienced it. I mean, this is all based in 12 steps of recovery, dude. This is all fucking recovery. And, but like, you think about this, I'm telling you, this is the real process of red pill. And then now think of all the people that claim that they're red pilled. And then think about how many of them actually have been, because this is the process of red pill. It requires trusting other people in an age of distrust. It requires physical fucking suffering, mental turmoil. It requires all kinds of shit. Like I went over in the last video. So Neo did trust him, and then he even believed it, because he was after he got all the plugs taken out and stuff, and then Morpheus came into his prison cell looking room, and Morpheus started talking about how that we live in I need to apologize because we don't usually unplug people that late in the game, because usually people get blah 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 and all whatever, and then Morpheus and Neo's like, Neo didn't look to Morpheus as an enemy or any reason to distrust him. But it was when Morpheus finally started showing him, where it's like, okay, your body's healed enough. Everything is, we've helped you recover from this physical state. Now I think you're ready to see what I want to show you. And so Neo's like, okay. And then when he fucking jacks him up, and then shows him like, dude, look, welcome to the desert of the real. You've been living in a dream world. This is what's really going on. As soon as Morpheus shows him that, Neo goes back to complete distrust, where he's like, fuck you. You're just another Freemason. You're just another Illuminati. You're just, fuck you. Get me the fuck out of here. Stay away from me. Remember? Okay. So you see, this requires levels of trusting people in an age of distrust, entering things that you are not sure of, that you don't know, but because of the desperation of the situation, you have nothing to lose but to explore them, etc., etc. This is what this is all about, man. And the whole time, Morpheus is the leader. Morpheus is the leader, but the whole time, Morpheus is telling Neo, you are the one. And then Neo's not believing him. He's like, yeah, Morpheus thinks I'm the one, and blah blah, and all this, like, but Morpheus is the leader. But Neo, and you get to watch Neo attain like humility and go through his phases of distrust and trusting and not really sure, and all the suffering and pain and everything. And this is what Red Pill is all about. Dude, you got all these people all over the internet claiming they're Red Pill. They have never experienced life. They're not unplugged at all. They are like completely submersed and plugged into the Matrix.